What's going on, guys? It's your boy DJRichieSkye. We back in the building, down to the LA in my hotel room. It's bright and early here. It's like 9:26 in the morning. But you know what? We about to get this thing pop, locking, and dropping. And we got to talk about a couple of things today. And the things that we're going to talk about, I'm really going to talk about them from the perspective of someone who, works in news. I dim and dab still kind of, but I used to work in news a lot more. And then someone who has worked in public relations and marketing as well. And I think you will understand why those perspectives are needed for today's stories, okay? We're talking Wendy Williams, we're talking Mia and Escala from the Real Housewives of Potomac. We are talking a little bit about Kenya Moore, Nene Leakes, Portia Williams from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And so we're gonna really do a deep dive into these discussions today. And before we get into that, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell button, and join the text community so I can send you a text message as soon as a new video drops. All links are in the description down below. Now, with that being said, remember last week we had, and I think earlier this week, we talked about Wendy Williams. And they kept going back and forth with the date about when the show would come out. There was, the word on the curb that she had, had the panorama. And then there was, oh, it wasn't the panorama, or it was some other things going on. And whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, we just want for Wendy to be better, right? So we got to start off saying that. But then today we get this information. Wendy will not be returning with new shows on October 4th. She has been and continues to be under a doctor's care and is still not ready to return to work. We plan to return with new shows on October 18th. Her breakthrough panorama case is no longer an issue, but she is still dealing with some ongoing medical issues. Now, let me say this. From the perspective of a person who has worked in news, and then from the perspective of a network, I don't understand why they would continue to try to give us these dates that are so close to each other with the anticipation that she is to magically recover from whatever it is that she's going through. Obviously there is something larger at play here. And according to The Sun and then Love B. Scott, what I researched today is there was also word that she's just kind of over it from sources. And they were basically saying that, typically they have announced the season's renewals for the following seasons, like 2022 and beyond, and they haven't even done that yet. So for me, what I would do in this situation is, and I don't understand why they just won't read the tea leaves here, maybe setting January 22nd as a potential date, or even December. Give this woman some time to heal from whatever it is that she's going through and to really fully recover, because obviously it is well and clear that by pushing these dates, you cannot put a deadline on when somebody will recover from something, or when someone will fully heal from something, or whatever the case may be. So why don't they just allow her, a couple of months? And I understand you got to deal with advertisers, contracts, and these are people's jobs. I definitely understand that. But at the end of the day, if the star of the show, the woman who is holding it all together, can't perform, then maybe what they could do is, like what they did last time, is put a Wendy Williams panel on deck so that these people can continue to work. You can continue to nurture new talent that Wendy approves of to come sit in and do those panels. Similar to what they did, about a year or two ago. And then they ended up bringing in also too, the Nick Cannons, the Jerry O'Connells. Now, some people did better than others, but at the end of the day, look where it's gotten Nick Cannon now. Not to say that that was the only reason, but now he has his own show. But we saw how good he was at the job when he did fill in her shoes on her show. So I'm just saying, like, give this woman some time to recover. At the end of the day, I understand that she is the brand. She is the face of the brand. She is the business, but doggone it, let her recover. Let her recover. Anyway, let's move on to another sort of branding issue that I would sort of work on if I had my say, okay? And that's Mia Thornton. Listen, I love Mia Thornton and Escala on the Real Housewives of Potomac. I feel like, Mia brings the chaotic energy that we have come to know and love with Potomac. But Escala brings a reasonable, high class kind of shade to the mix. And I feel like both women bring something very interesting to the table. Now, with Mia being a new housewife on the show and Escala being a friend of the show, this is definitely not the route that I would take if I was Mia. Now, I do feel like I understand that she might have felt some type of way given that Skye did call her an HOE on the show this past week. But I do feel like save that for the reunion. Save that for your interviews that you do with, you know, whatever news outlets that you're doing it with. But definitely do not take the beef to social media, because I say it time and time again, especially for reality TV stars on shows like the Bravo shows. These reality TV, Twitter and Instagram beefs, they do not pay, okay? They don't pay the bills. You are working for free, so stop it, okay? Or in this case, you are hiring someone to work for free. And we'll get into that in just one second. Here's what we have from Mia. A lot of the blogs caught it, a lot of the media outlets caught it. She said, wearing designer, living in a townhouse with your mother, wonder why we haven't seen your luxurious, lavish housewife lifestyle. And then it says HOEASS, nah kid, I'm a boss B. Hashtag Mia Thornton, try again. So then Skye chimes back in and says, listen, let's be clear. I don't live with my mother. My mother lives with me. She moved in to help care for her grandkids. That's what a mother does when she loves you. We're not all working on our relationship. Sorry, sis, be blessed. Mia then says, I don't do nasty. Shade, yes, but not nasty. Discussing my mother is nasty. Well, you know, I'm going to say this. Again, Mia, I feel like stay off social media with the beefs. Save it for the show. If you had not started with her, she would not have come in next with another comment. And that's the thing with social media beefs. You have no control over how or what someone will, how someone will respond to something that you throw out there at them. So it would be better to, as the new housewife, you need to be saving your fights for the Giselles or the Wendys or the Candaces, you know, and not to say that Skye is not important, because she is. I love her on the show and I think she's necessary, and I hope they make her a housewife next season because she is so reasonable. Now, she is reasonably shady, okay? She is reasonable and a voice of reason, but she can also throw in a nice dose of shade, and I feel like it's high class shade, and I like that about her. But my thing about it is, Mia, you as the new person, save your fights for the major players of this franchise, and then keep the fighting off of social media, because then the next thing that was posted was this. And this was everywhere yesterday, and I was, you know, in and out of travel, so I couldn't really do any videos yesterday. But it says, hello, social media family. While I take full responsibility for the recent IG posts, which you should, and tweets over the past few months, I want to inform you that I have let go of my social media manager due to the nature and language of the captions and posts. I don't have time to keep up, so I am currently looking for someone who will represent my brand and true self. In the meantime, sending love, peace, and positive energy your way. My sincere apologies, XO Mia. For inquiries, email, and then she lists the email down below, so you can apply to be her social media manager if you want to. This is what I would say. Listen, here's the thing. Jen Shah is currently going through the same thing on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, where she is alleging that she pays someone to write her social media post for her. At the end of the day, regardless of whether or not you are paying someone, you are still responsible for your posts. And especially if they are aimed at someone, then at that point, you have to start taking stock of, hey, you know, I'm engaged in social media beefs. I got to pay attention to this, because ultimately it's your brand that's at stake here. And you have to have someone that you trust to speak in your voice. Now, I don't know what's going on with her social media, but what I'm saying is this. At the end of the day, you are responsible for what you post. I would just simply say, look, y'all, I'm sorry. I've gotten out of control with my social media. I'm about to back off this thing. Because again, at the end of the day, I said it don't pay. Bottom line. Just do that, stay off social media, and then you will stay out of trouble. Easy, okay? Now I want to move on to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? Because there's word on the curb that the network was allegedly not too happy with Kenya Moore joining Dancing with the Stars, and they tried to give her an ultimatum. Now, I saw this on TMZ and Reality Blurb. Jasmine Brand picked it up as well. And apparently, you know, when she was first approached to, you know, do Dancing with the Stars, you know, she told the production company, True Entertainment, and, you know, they gave her the go-ahead, okay? But then allegedly, Bravo came back behind the scenes and gave her an ultimatum once she had officially signed on. The streets are saying that they told her to pick between Dancing with the Stars and Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, I understand that typically when you sign a contract for a network, you are signing a contract to be on that show only, and you can only usually appear on that show. But also given the fact that multiple other housewives have appeared on Dancing with the Stars, aka your Lisa Rinnas, your Nene Leakes, Kim Zolciak, Lisa Vanderpump, and I just feel at this point in time like it's kind of hypocritical for them to give her an ultimatum if they did in fact do so. Because I just think that you let all of these other housewives do it. And why would you give her an ultimatum? Because ultimately, all the press and any attention that she's getting right now from Dancing with the Stars is going to go right back to anticipation for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because that's where most people know her from in this day and time. So to me, it's a win-win when a housewife can cross over into another show like this, even though it is with a completely different network. And now that network can use her image and her likeness. And I understand that is the reason probably why networks are really kind of like on the fence about that sometimes. But in this day and age, you know, the press is good press. She's doing well on the show. I mean, listen, she is killing it. So to me, I feel like, what's the issue? What was the reason there? It doesn't make any sense to me. Apparently they eventually backed off allegedly and allowed her to continue being on both shows, but they refused to provide her with potential crossover footage for the upcoming season of Real Housewives of Atlanta for season 14. Now, here's the thing. When we get to our next story, you're gonna understand why this makes even less sense to me, because you are definitely down from some talent from Real Housewives of Atlanta. In my mind, it would seem as though, because production hasn't even started yet, from what we've heard, I mean full scale production, then it seems like you would want her to get all the press and notoriety that she can in anticipation for the season. And why would you not use that on the show? That's a huge deal for somebody to get. Like, let's celebrate her like you've celebrated all of these other people. I just don't understand. Anyway, the reason why I said it makes so much sense is because when we get to the exclusive that we're about to talk about now from Love B. Scott, we will understand. Now, we had talked about it before, about Porsha potentially being out of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. B. Scott is also confirming this as well in a new report that just came out about casting. And y'all know we love to talk about casting because I love speculation. I love conjecture. I love figuring out the new cast configurations. I've already said this before. But anyway, so with the knowledge that Porsha is out of the cast, you're down a pretty major player. Why would you balk at Kenya Moore potentially doing Dancing with the Stars, knowing that you could be losing Porsha, okay? That don't make no sense to me. If you're gonna lose Porsha, you definitely want to keep your Kenya Moore. She's a powerhouse player on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, whether you like her or not, okay? She makes headlines, and you want someone who makes headlines for not Twitter beefs, but just because she makes headlines because she's so well known and her activities, such as Dancing with the Stars, those are big things. So now, okay, we got that bit of information. You just lost Cynthia Bailey because, you know, we had talked about her being on the chopping block for quite some time, which, according to B. Scott, makes room for Sheree Whitfield and Marlo Hampton, as we had previously talked about on the show as well. So now you got those two for the cost of the one, and probably, okay, for whatever Porsha was making, I'm sure that was a big old salary as well. So you have Kandi, Kenya, Marlo, Sheree, okay? Sheree has the connection to Akon's wife, Rosina, okay? So that's the potential new cast member that we talked about earlier, which was also a B. Scott exclusive. And then Sanya Richards-Ross, which was also another B. Scott exclusive. So you got all of these cast members, right? Now, to me, you got Kandi, Kenya, Sanya, Rosina, Drew, Marlo, Sheree. I say keep them all. You can't afford to not have one of these ladies in the mix. And I know Atlanta only likes to have 6 women, but still, I say give us 7, give us what we deserve. You see these casts of 7 are killing it. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is killing it. Real Housewives of Potomac is killing it. I believe they're gonna have 7 on New Jersey as well. So I mean, let's bring Atlanta up with the times, people. Let's bring it up with the times, you know, and restore its glory to where it used to be. Okay. And then the other thing is that we got from the B. Scott story was that Nene Leakes would be, that production sources or production was hoping to get Marlo filming some scenes with Nene Leakes because it would be a nice follow-up for the fans with regards to, you know, everything that Nene has been going through. I have been really hesitant to talk about Nene, mostly because I just feel so much for her as she's going through so much right now with losing Greg. And I don't necessarily know whether or not Nene would, you know, be up for potentially returning to the show in, you know, any capacity at this point in time, because it's so soon. You know what I'm saying? While I think it would be amazing for fans to catch up with her and to hear from her, I think that I don't know what kind of space she would be in or whether or not she would even want to. And I think it would also depend on what that WAP gonna look like. You know what I'm saying? And rightly so at this point, right? And they were saying that also it may lead to potential, you know, future appearances from Nene in the future. And I think that you always want to, and I talked about this before, it would be so much better if Bravo cycled in and cycled out housewives. Therefore, you never lose those relationships with housewives. And it's expected that every couple of seasons, you'll have a season or 2 off. And that way the cast continues to become refreshed. You can do new configurations of the cast, and then the cast remains intertwined as a friend group because people are being cycled in and cycled out with always the possibility that they can come back. Now that's the case now, but typically now, I mean, when situations end, let's look back at Nene Leakes' run on the show when they were sort of, as she stated, giving her less and less episodes. If it were a situation where if I'm a housewife or if I'm a cast member on a show and I know that, you know, okay, every 3 years I'm gonna have a year off, then you know and anticipate, hey, this is gonna be my year off, so you don't have to worry about, okay, what are they doing to me? Why are they diminishing my role on the show? You know, any of that. So I think that needs to be something that Bravo needs to start working into their cast contracts. And I think it would also do the fans a big service, because then we always know that somebody could be coming back at any point in time, which is technically the case now, but it's so much, I don't know, it just seems so tense at the moment. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, lots of commentary today, y'all, and I know we had a lot to discuss, but I wanted to really get into detail with some of these topics today because I just feel like these are important things to discuss. And I think that we have to really discuss them in an open and honest, but as nice a way as possible. But we still got to get down to what needs to be said. Y'all know what I'm saying? Now, with that being said, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, and I will catch you in the next video.